Hi, everyone. This is Alexandra from Hear Me Roar, and welcome to Cacao Talk, episode 7. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about the process of letting go, like how to let go, and specifically the importance of letting go the good with the bad. So we'll get into that in a second, but first, the most important thing, cacao. Mm. In today's cacao, I put some date syrup and some cinnamon. Something about the warmth of the cinnamon, the spiciness in the cinnamon as we're starting to get ready to go into autumn. I'm like, this is a good time to start incorporating cinnamon in, right? Okay, so to our topic of letting go. So what I'm going to share with you are some things that I have learned and picked up along the way of reading several books, doing different modalities, going to trainings, or just from a personal experience of implementing things, from working with clients. And so over the years, I've just noticed some common tools and themes that can be very beneficial and very effective in helping you to be able to let go of the things you're feeling you would like to let go of or transmute in order to create the life that you want, in order from going from a story of victimhood to just a story of empowerment, to going from a sense of survival to going into a reality of thriving, and just basically giving yourself the permission and the grace to be the authentic you that you know resides within you. One of the things I have really been noticing lately is a lot of this discord that's going on within us. And again, I mentioned this before, it's not because there's anything wrong with us. It's not because we're broken. It's not because we need to get fixed. I feel like what is going on, honestly, is that inside of you, you are already who you are meant to be. You were born who you are. You are the I am, right? You already are that person. It's just as you've gone through life experiences and you've had different things happen around you and to you and for you and so forth. It's kind of like we create this shell or these layers around us for different purposes. And again, there's nothing wrong with us. And with that, it has brought us to where we are today. We are at least alive and have a desire to live and keep moving forward. And for whatever reason, those stories, those narratives, those walls, that shell, right? Those barriers that we put kept us safe, right? But now we've kind of stepped into potentially a life experience, or we're ready to finally shine who we already are. But to do that, we do need to give way. We do need to release. Do need to express and transmute these things, these barriers that we've built around us that's protecting the authentic self that already exists. Okay, so here are a couple things. The first is, it's very, very important, and I highly recommend that in your daily self-care ritual, however that looks like, if you don't have one, actually that should probably be step one, but that you incorporate meditation. And I know meditation triggers a lot of people. The first thing is like, oh, I don't know how to meditate. Oh, I can't sit still. Oh. Okay, let's just put that aside. Let's just calm the nervous system for a second. So when I mean meditation, meditation can be done in different ways. For some people, they say my swimming or physical activities meditation. For others, it's the yoga. For others, it is sitting in silence. For others, it's listening to music. And all of those styles of meditation are extremely beneficial. But I invite you to allow yourself to do a meditation that gives you the ability to have stillness. Now, this can be and probably will be challenging in the beginning, but that's okay, right? That is the process of releasing the first layer, the first layer of resistance, right? Let's just view it as, okay, this is layer one, or this is level one, if you want to make it again. And level one is calming my nervous system, is showing up for myself through the process of discovering stillness and allowing myself the grace just to be still. And a couple ways that you can do this. You can do this in silence. You can do this in guided meditation, but I would invite that you get guided to come into your body and then kind of either silence or music playing. So in the stillness, you don't want too many words being said to you or you saying too many words out loud. but it can be beneficial to have a guided meditation, but at some point in the meditation where there is the sense of silence, in the sense of either someone speaking, or no music, or you can have sound. Sometimes I just like to hear certain music that doesn't have any lyrics, because it helps create that container. One of my favorite things to do is that I go on YouTube, and if there's like an emotion or vibration I want to feel, like unconditional love, happiness, and so forth, I literally in YouTube type in hertz for unconditional love, hertz for soulmate, hertz for patience, hertz for peace, like literally, in hertz meaning HZ, the frequency. And you'll find, that frequency that you can be playing while you allow yourself to be in stillness. And I mean, I've heard this comes from Abraham Hicks, that 15 minutes is very beneficial. And remember, you're not trying to, if for the 15 minutes you weren't able to focus and be still, that's okay, because the intention of it was to start releasing the layer or the narrative that I don't know how to meditate, I don't know how to go into stillness, or it's unsafe, or it's uncomfortable, right? So the intention, it's kind of like one of those paradoxes, right? The intention is not to force yourself to be in stillness. The intention is to go through the journey of letting go of what is preventing you from going into stillness. So that would be like beginner, right? And then as you go more, it will be easy. And even for me, who's been doing this for years, there are still moments, if I'm going through something heavy in life, where the stillness piece is challenging. So then I sit with that. I sit with, okay, what is coming up in this struggle of finding stillness, right? So that would be my first recommendation. It's very important to go ahead and create a practice that invites stillness. So why is stillness important? So stillness can then give you the ability to do a couple of things. The first, it gives you ability to finally listen to your body, to listen to your inner child, to listen to your inner voice and to your inner knowing. That's why some more of like the physical activities, if there's, I don't want to contradict myself here. There have been moments where I have been running or I have been walking. And again, if I'm not listening to too much music, not as a distraction, right? Like if it's all about intention. So if I'm doing that with the intention of, I want to be able to be open to hearing my inner self, then those physical activities could be beneficial. But if you use those activities to kind of like get away from something, or you're already trying to overcome something else, then that practice may not be the most conducive for this purpose, because the purpose is we're wanting to reach a level of stillness, however you're able to achieve that, so that you have the ability to connect with your inner self and just do like a check-in, do a body scan. What I mean by body scan is, if you close your eyes and you kind of start at the top of your head, you just literally visualize yourself doing this scan, just kind of checking in to see if you feel anything here as you're going down the body, or any emotions coming up, and any thoughts, any dialogues, like literally a scan of the body. And it may seem silly at first, but it is extremely beneficial, right? So once you have the meditation process, once you set the intention of stillness and you go within to hear the inner voice, or the inner desires, or the inner needs, then the next thing that this allows you to do is to implement a process. So sometimes in my meditation practice, when I'm in the process of my intention is to let go, I will sit down, meditate, find my stillness, and in that moment also go, like if I do feel a connection, if I do feel a heaviness or an emotion, I will go ahead and, because of giving myself the time, go into a process of letting go. Sometimes though, I will do meditations just to check in with my body, and maybe I'll notice something, and maybe because of time and just other things going on in that moment, I may not have the time to implement a letting go process, but at least I have the awareness now, and I do make a mental note and an emotional commitment that I'll come back to that at a later time, right? So you can kind of, again, adjust this. This is your healing journey. You can adjust it to your needs and desires. Now, letting go processes. There are many different ways of implementing, or different ways of letting go. I personally like to incorporate a variety of them, right? So some of them can be visual. One of the things I was taught was, I'll sit down and do a meditation of going all the way back to like the moment I was conceived, or, if past lifetimes resonate with you and something like that comes up to you. But basically I go back to the beginning of my time of like where I feel like I want to go back into. And then let me actually step back. I set the intention. Let's say if there's something that I want to let go of, let's say it's attachments in general, if I make it very general, right? Or it's very specific. I discovered in my meditation the previous day that I have the other day I shared with you guys that all of a sudden this belief of I'm a burden came up. So in that moment, I did a little bit of releasing, but like it was also 3:00 in the morning. So I set the intention that at a later time, I was going to carve out more time and set the intention of, okay, I'm going within to implement this process to release and further understand why this belief of I'm a burden is here, and how do I transmute and let go of that, right? So you set your intention of what it is that you're wanting to release. Then one of the process I learned is I go all the way back to the beginning of time of that thing I'm wanting to release. And I just let myself go where that leads me. And then as I'm going through, I allow myself to be witness, right? Again, we are the witnesses. I allow myself to be the witness, to let my inner knowing, my inner child, my higher self, or whatever resonates with you, even my ego, to show me these almost like a movie reel of times where my inner self believed or attached in different life experiences to this, for me example, this belief that I'm a burden. And as those things come up, there's a couple ways to release. I can visualize like in front of me this vortex where I'm literally just releasing, just allowing, bring it up, acknowledge it, love it, witness it, let it go. Bring it up, acknowledge it, witness, love it, let it go. And it's like more like this energetic visual thing. Sometimes if that doesn't resonate with me, the leaning into the emotion. So if the emotion comes up and there's different images or different feelings or ideas coming up, the leaning into it means that I allow myself to feel it. I allow that inner child to just sob or to scream or to laugh or whatever it is that she needs, right? So it can be like an embodiment, meaning dropping down into it, and then an expression of it, or it can be more of like this energetic visual of the letting go, right? And so, like I said, there's other processes out there that can help you. And I pull from a variety of those. Not one is going to work for every situation. And sometimes I feel more resonance with one than the other, depending on what's going on in my life, right? So again, it's going back to, this is your healing journey. This is your journey. This is your ability to create and to learn what works for you, and implement those things for yourself, and not what others say, oh, only do it this way, or this is the best way. I don't really believe that that's true. It all depends on where you are in your life and what is coming up. So there's that. A couple other things that I feel are very important is the inner dialogue that you're having with yourself as these things are coming up, right? So we want to have an inner dialogue that is filled with self-love and acceptance. So we want to have an inner dialogue that if a judgment comes up, like, why am I feeling this again? Oh, no, not this again. I thought I already released this. Why do I have to deal with this? Like all of those, if you just consider it, that dialogue, that narrative is not serving you and letting that go. So here's the paradox. Even if that does come up, that inner dialogue comes up, we also don't want to judge that we're having a heavy or negative dialogue, right? We just want to be witness and say, oh, okay, I'm noticing that right now I'm having judgment, I'm having self-judgment, and I'm judging this. And that's okay, that makes sense because this is uncomfortable, or this is overwhelming, or this is heavy, right? So even letting that go, right? So it really is this interesting, delicate balance of dance and balance that's happening, of allowing everything to come up, even all the thoughts to come up, but witnessing and realizing and allowing yourself to pivot in those inner dialogues, right? And to just basically allow yourself to come from a place of self-love and acceptance. Like, okay, there's inner judgment. I have the willingness to shift that dialogue, because that dialogue is not in alignment with the intention of having self-love and self-acceptance. So I release that. I don't judge that, right? I release that, or I allow myself to have, how can I rephrase this in a more self-loving or self-accepting phrase, so being gentle with yourself. The other is, this is something really important that I learned a long time ago. Well, that's actually not true. I learned a few years ago that really changed it, is allow yourself to let go of the good with the bad. Now, in the beginning, I felt like that's counterintuitive. I'm like, why would I want to let go of the good? The good memories, like this was the best relationship, or that was the best vacation, or that was the best. Well, the thing with that is it creates two things. It allows you to still be attached to a narrative. And if you're attached to that was the best you ever had, then how are you going to allow yourself to have more? Just think about that for a second. So if that was the best relationship you ever had, and now you're not with that person, but you're in the narrative and the story of that's the best relationship I ever had, then energetically speaking, if we're talking about the law of attraction, how will you allow yourself to manifest another relationship that is the best you ever had, or a relationship that's even better than what you had? Because the reason you're not in that relationship anymore is that you've evolved into a different person, and maybe you have different needs. So it's really this idea of giving yourself permission to let go of the good with the bad, because it allows you to detach. It allows you to detach from everything in your life in order to make room for even more. Our higher selves, like, we might have a desire, or we might think we want or need something or desire something, and it's beautiful, but our minds are limited. As a human body, we are limited sometimes to the grandness of what we can experience, unless you've really connected with your higher self and you've seen the grandness of who you are. And even then, we're still interpreting from a human perspective and in this life perspective, right? So when we allow ourselves to let go of the good with the bad, we empty ourselves. We allow ourselves to be a blank canvas, knowing and trusting that the next level of thriving, the next level of empowerment, of unconditional love, beyond what we can consciously perceive, we make room and allow for that, right? And then the last thing is remembering and being gentle with ourselves, that healing are layers. What was it? It was Shrek, I think, said it best, or was it Donkey in Shrek? I'm not sure, but the whole onions, that onion analogy that they gave, it's like peeling onions. Well, it is, healing is layers, so even if something comes up that you felt that you worked on years ago, or last year, or last month, if it comes up again, just maybe give yourself the permission that it's another layer of that, or maybe you're coming back to that because underneath that there's another layer. Right. So it's like, this is your starting point now, or maybe your starting point was up here and you healed it to this point. And it's like, okay, why is this coming up again? I thought I already healed this. Well, let's relax and become witness and say, okay, why is this coming up again? Is it because there's more deeper into it, or is it because there's still something I meant to gain and evolve from this? Right. So those are my tips of how, the processes, or how to be able to let go. And again, the importance of letting go of the good with the bad. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for Cacao Talk. As usual, feel free to leave comments or questions or suggestions for topics in the future. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.